Okay, guys, today we're going to talk about the Realtor Property Resource. And if you go on Trulia and Zillow and any of those types of sites, you'll notice that they have the consumer is able to get a lot of different reports that we go, wow, those are really cool, but how accurate are they and why can't I provide them? So one of the things I want you to look at is using Realtor Property Resource to be able to supply the consumer with correct information that's coming from you. You, the person. Well, hello, yay, Michelle's here. Welcome back. Michelle has come back off of maternity leave. Well, that'll be in the recording. Sorry. So anyway, when we go through these, I want you to kind of consider that today your consumer, your client, is getting information from Trulia and Zillow. And wouldn't you rather have them be getting this kind of information from you? So we're going to go through the different reports that are available. Realtor Property Resource, back actually in, it was like 2009, NAR realized that they needed to be more progressive in the information that was being provided to realtors and reports that could be generated from it. So they got together this group and founded RPR. It is a single source access to data. The hope someday, guys, is that they will be able to give you mortgage data as well as foreclosure data and FSBO data. So if a home sells for sale by owner, we'll be able to access it through RPR. My experience is that in this area, out of Gaming, Calumet, Winnebago, they're a little lax in getting information from the courthouses, different than they would be if they were from like a San Francisco, where the courthouses are pretty digital. So you'll start to see more information available through the RPR as technology advances and as our communities implement the technology. Currently, where they get the information from is from the MLS, and they also go through the records when they're able to feed from those. You hear me say a RET system a lot, and a RET system is an automatic. Our courthouses don't have RET systems. So they probably, Ben, how often do you think that we get information from courthouses, from the Register of Deeds, I'm sorry, maybe quarterly they'll package and send it? Somebody said a real good cue as we go through this: garbage in, garbage out. If garbage is in there, we're going to get garbage out. So it's really important that we review the items that we're putting out. These are the different things. I'm going to tell you what you can do with RPR, and then we're going to go through how you do it. You can create valuable reports, and if you look around the table, you'll see I've got several different reports. I've got market activity reports, I've got a seller's report, and there's a property report that were all done using RPR. One of them is a 53-page report that has data as well as any property. The cool thing is the property that has Liz pendings filed against it, so the foreclosure proceedings that are starting are showing up on these reports. You're able to take the one really that I think is super cool is the home improvement calculator. You can go into a property, and if a seller says, you know, I'm thinking about selling my home, but I want to remodel it, the kitchen. So if I remodel the kitchen, how much value am I going to get out of the house? Or I'm going to put a roof on and windows and all of this. What's the value of my house going to be? RPR co-joined with Remodel Magazine and took the cost versus value and applied it into this system as well. You can use, there's the valuation so that you can refine based on condition, curb appeal, distressed or enhanced property features. And probably the most interesting that I find is the market-to-market analysis and demographic reports. And that's that market report. You can go specific to a zip code and run off a report of what's happening in that zip code. how this differs from what will be made available to you in the property information profile reports that our new site has generating is that is address specific and will and you can set people up to automatically receive them. These reports, there's a couple of things that you should know about RPR. One is it's free for every realtor. The second is that the reports that you generate will only stay in the RPR system for 30 days. So when you generate the report, it's very important that you save that if you plan on using it or referencing back to it. Those are probably the two most important things to know so that you don't, one, not use it, and two, assume that the report's going to be there and 2 months later go back and it's gone. So it won't save it. This is the information we talked about earlier that's available. Public records, they use tax assessment forms, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, school information, FEMA flood maps, neighborhood and demographic information. If you look through those reports, guys, and take them, look through them, and pass them around so you can kind of get a feel for what's out there. The amount of information we're able to provide to the consumer coming from you is really just a step up in the game that we call real estate. So there's 3 different reports that I've referenced. The first one being the property report, the second being the seller's report, and the third being the market activity report. And these are the 3 different uses for them. If you are a buyer's agent, running a property report is a phenomenal tool to be able to give your buyer on that neighborhood. It has all of the information. It gives cost values. It tells them what's happening in that neighborhood with location base. Did you use it to show somebody what the list versus sale ratio is? No. We had somebody, was that you, John? Showed a list for, okay, maybe I heard that from somebody using it. So they had a buyer that they were going out with. They wanted to be able to show them that the list versus sale ratio for that neighborhood was truly 97%. And so they utilized that property report to consult with their buyer. So that's really some multiple different uses for this. If you have somebody that's going, oh well, the Zestimate for the property is this, or that seems to be the buzzword for some tech savvy consumers, to be able to provide them with this property report that's customized with information that we've been able to make sure is very accurate information, you're going to be able to offset that Zestimate every single time. Your seller's report in helping listing a property or getting a price reduction on a property, and the market activity report, just to be able to offer that to your pool of buyers, your book of business, your Bob, as I like to call them, to be able to provide this in depth on a quarterly basis. You could use the property information, the PIP reports that send out email off of our system. You could do that monthly, and then quarterly do this incredibly in-depth report for them. So before we do that, I just want to ask John and Ben, did I miss anything in how you can utilize RPR in your business that you think would be beneficial for the agents to know? Fabulous.
Microsoft Silverlight, and it'll ask you to install it once you get into RPR.
Okay, so if I go under, where do I do the heat Yes, I'm sorry.
Go down a little bit. It's going to be on the map there. So go up to the map.
I probably don't have Silverlight.
But it should be asking you to install it. Because there'll actually be a menu on top and then on the side of that.
Okay. So Dana needs to install Silverlight on her computer, and then there'll be on this map, it will give you different colors. Okay, perfect. John, anything that you have? And being able to seek out. Okay, so how you get into RPR. The website address is www.narrpr.com. So you'll come to the page and it will say, welcome, please sign in. I have the red arrow here. It says create new account underneath this site. You click on that. Yes, every one of these slides is printed on that handout, but I know it's a little tiny. .narrpr.com. And you'll want to go ahead and create the new account. It's going to ask you to fill in your profile information, very basic name. It will need your NERDS number, your Realtor NAR number. You can look that number up, or if you just look at your last NAR Realtor magazine, your NERDS number is on your mailing thing. So you'll need your laptop and your NERDS number to sign up. It will automatically associate you with Coldwell Banker, the real estate group. You put your office address in, whatever phone numbers you want. And then it will bring you to your ability to access the RPR website. You can type in, for sale an address. You can type in a zip code. You can type in a city, and it will bring all of those items up for you. This here is deeper search. If you look at the top right here, next to the search, there's a button that says deeper search. If you pull down on that, you then can get to this more specific where you can say, I want active listings. It says non-distressed properties. So if you do not want foreclosures, perhaps you want foreclosures, you can search specific to foreclosure. Pre-foreclosure or auction, these are the Liz pendings that are filed. Or short sales. So you can be very specific in your searching capability. You can go by price range, price per square foot, bedroom, living area, lot size, different types of property. If there's open houses, pretty much anything that goes into the MLS system you can search by. The report tab is here, and these are the different types of reports. Again, you can do the property report, the seller report, or the market activity report. You then get to choose the elements you want included. So you can I chose everything because I wanted to show you everything that you can have available to you on this report. So that's why the one is 53 pages long. It has everything included in it. You can limit the number of records for each market activity section. and we'll get to the refining. So right now, those are the three records and how you generate them. And it's quite simple. Once you press what you want, you say generate report, and it will say we're generating the report. Do you want to go back to the page, or would you like us to just email you when the report is complete? So you have your choice on if you want to continue working on it, or if you have to go somewhere and do something. It will generate a PDF report, and when it is complete, it'll show up under your reports on that left-hand side. Remembering, please, that those reports only last for 30 days. You then can choose to have that report emailed to your client or customer, or save it as a PDF yourself. So you have several different choices for how you want to distribute that. This is probably the most interesting, is the updating of the property tools. So yesterday, we had a property that didn't appraise out. So we utilized this to run the reports because they kept saying that nothing had sold in that area. So we wanted to see if what the information the appraiser was able to use was coming up as the same as what this was. And the RPR came out with it just slightly under what the market value list price was. So we were able to say, well, you know, you keep comparing this $125,000 house to $100,000 foreclosures. Of course, it's not going to appraise. But did you search the whole realm to see what a property like this was selling for? So we'll see if that's going to be of assistance. But how you can do your valuation here. The MLS, no, and public records. So the city taxes, all of the tax records.
So, Karen, what would we use to do an appraisal? Anything that you can find, but he also has parameters of miles and how many miles. Correct, but do appraisers have? They'll have the same access to me. Right, but do they have a system kind of like that? Is it how they get their appraisal? Or that they have to research public records? I don't know if this thing is doing it. There's a site that that's what I'm trying to find out, where they get that.
They are. What I'm saying is these are good tools. If you have one that is not coming in, this is a really good tool if it has to go in for review. Because to be able to hand them this report and that's incredibly detailed, this is a good tool to utilize. Under the Realtor Property Resource, if you type in an address in this search bar and you hit search, it comes up and you have summary, history, charts and graphs, comps, and refined value. This is where you can go in as a realtor and verify that information is correct. Rennie, I'm going to share the story that you had. Rennie had a property that they bought for an investment last year, and she called in and it wasn't showing up. The sold data wasn't showing up. Going back into MLS, we found out that the co-broker did not enter the sold data into the MLS. The tax basis had the right owner's name, but because the broker didn't enter the sold data, there was an issue in history. These are things that where we go garbage in, garbage out. If we don't put in valuable content, we're not going to get accurate reports. And that's the problem where we have with Zillow and Trulia today, is they don't have access. There is no way really we can claim properties and try and upgrade them, but for the most part, this allows us the access to truly go in and make sure that there's accurate reporting on it. So if we go in under refined value, this is probably the one that I think is the best. is if they're missing living area, square foot in here, you can put it in. If they're missing lot sizes, you can put it in. If you're aware that they did a home improvement, that's not on there. You can add this in. If you can then go refine the value based on market and home conditions. So let's say you're going to go do this is one, Karen, you have one where you had, you really wanted the seller to paint and update that home. This would be a phenomenal tool to be able to use and run a report, one, in the condition it is in today, and if they would make the changes, the difference in pricing that you could have. So these are the types of things that you can do by just having a couple of different clicks. The home exterior condition, you know, if you got paint that's peeling, it then has here 12-month change in median, estimated home value, all of these different things that you're able, you know, if they knock down the neighbor's house and get that view of waterfront, you know, it's going to be better. Just kidding. Good morning. Privacy, it's interesting. You then can update more about your neighborhood, what's going on in that neighborhood, and all of these are the things that show up on this type of report.
So any real report can go in there?
Yes, yes.
What if it's not your listing? I don't know how they could carte blanche let us go in there and they're making changes to a property. It's only for you to that report. Oh, I see.
It will stay in RPR. It won't go anywhere else. It won't change it in MLS. It won't change it. Correct.
But it permanently stays in there or not? It'll stay in your RPR. My RPR. Okay.
But if you make a change, it won't show up in my account?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll ask.
It's pretty wacky data that way. That's what I'm wondering. How it says the house is 2,000 square feet, only 5,900 square feet. So I think it's safe to hear
There is, if you look to the right here, guys, there's this little, see that little bug? It says log a bug. If you notice a glitch in the system, you click that button, and it will let you alert RPR that there's an error in the system. I think it saves in the RPR report. I think it's the hope. I mean, and I guess I understand, Louise, where you see where people could skew it, but I think the hope is that as a community, that we all want to be higher than the least respected profession in the world. The real estate agent. So, you know, we've dropped in years. So I would hope that all of us combined would want to go up in the future years, and this is an ability to do that. To which one, I'm sorry? All right. Did you add this living? Living area, so it did save. This is where you can make other home fact changes, and this is on the very front page. It pulls pictures from MLS. So if any of you want to know what my home looked like before I moved in and my kids trashed it, that's the house that you see now. Yes, yes, yes. Lisa. Refined value. Current RVM. Realtor valuation model estimates the addition, It's the realtor's estimate of what they think the home. Yes, correct. So with well, they have the list price and then the RVM, and then they give you a range of where they think it should be priced. From 140 to 175 is where these properties are selling, based on condition and everything that's in there. Now, I want you to notice a really cool tab that they have here. If you guys look at where my little finger pointy is, property analysis for investors is what that says. So if you are working with somebody who is an investor and is considering purchasing a foreclosure, this is a tool that you could be able to use if you're working with people who flip, if you're purchasing some rental properties for yourself. You can go on this property analysis for investors. Oops, sorry. And it brings up a great little thing, and then it's not going to show. Here we go. Here's the RV. This is the investor's report. It shows different scenarios if you have a property that's going to be increasing in value aggressively, moderately, or conservatively. If you do it an aggressive offering price of $155 and you have 1% of closing costs, what your costs are going to be associated with that. It will show you rent mode, so sample rents, vacancy rates, and then you can run reports based on that to see if they're going to be, it shows here pre-tax equity in property, pre-tax monthly cash flow, and pre-tax annual cash on cash return. You can do it as a rent, a resell, or a live-in, and then you can also acclimate your holding period. Does anybody think that's kind of a really cool tool to be able to utilize to see if that's going to be a good investment for your buyers and sellers? Again, the whole purpose of RPR is to make sure that you are the one providing the information to your consumer. So if you can go and call your customer base and let them know, hey, if you're looking at investing, give me a call because I have this really good report I can run to make sure that you're going to have some good cash flow on that property. All right, other than the heat chart, am I missing anything, Ben?
I mean, just under the comp section, you can add comps if you like. You can pull more comps.
That's probably the most important because what I found is that it's very similar to the Super CMA. Do you remember when the Super CMA came out? And even now, like some of the properties you go, really? We're going to compare that to this house? I don't think so. So one of the things is to go under your comp section and make sure that you really adjust to make sure that your comps being used are accurate comps as well. You can add a specific property. You can add other nearby comps. What I think is going to be the coolest is if they ever do come up with, this shows your prior sales transactions for this property. You can choose public records or MLS records. I mean, there seriously is just an overload of information in these reports. So, John, you went to this and you were so pumped in utilizing this as a tool. There were several sellers that just were blown out of the water. I don't want to share too much of your secrets, but do you have any? Yeah. What? We were just introduced to it at our MLS just joined it last week. So. So you need your Nerds account, go on and create it, and then play around with it and utilize it in your business. Great way to touch base with different buyers and sellers over the next couple of weeks that are looking to purchase. We went through the refine. Now there's one last part that's available to you, and that's if you wanted to start doing BPOs. There was a little bit of misleading on the BPO being offered through NAR because the original introduction led us to believe that it was a zero cost as well. But that is not true. There is a $199 fee to take the BPO course, and then it's I got it mixed up. It's $125 to take the BPO course, which is a one-day, 6-hour course you can take online. And then there's a $199 registration fee. Once you're registered, you are then in the NAR system to obtain BPOs from various banks and be able to generate some different incomes using BPOs. Average, if we went on to an Appleton area with the BPOs, we would find that there were 107. Oops. Let's see if they let me pull it up. I don't have the answer to that question. They call it a $199 one-time application fee. I can't imagine anything would stop them from charging it. There was a site that he had on that showed you where your find orders near you, search your area for BPO orders. So if I go to Wisconsin, there were 118 BPO orders done. They don't tell me if that's in the past year, the past month, the past week. I thought if we were in Minneapolis, Chicago, 8800. I mean, if we were in Chicago, I would tell you we'll be holding that class here and get on there. Appleton is 118. If everybody joins up on it, you're going to get one every 3 years. Are to date, are out there right this minute. They're coming through the BPOR website. So banks have now, correct. So it's only banks that have signed up. Does anybody have any other questions regarding this? Any questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the webinar, guys. Thank you very much for joining us.